Welcome to another wonderful episode of Chumming with the Spirits, your favorite podcast about the weird, unusual, and anything fun here in the Midwest.
With the shark logo.
With the shark logo. We recently just hit 10,000 subscribers, and I have to say I'm pretty shocked and awestruck by that.
Honored.
Honored. That's the word I was looking for.
That many people decided, and so like and subscribe. We'd love to have more and do more interactions with our subscribers.
Absolutely.
Like and comment on the videos that you like.
And if you hadn't had the chance yet, go to our website, cwtspodcast.com. Check out some of our episodes that links to YouTube. Check
out the books Parachum's written.
Thank you. I forgot about that.
All our swag that we have online.
Yeah, you can get these amazing tumblers that Jeremy and Graves. I'm surprised. Like the liquid stays super cold in here for a long period of time.
They're a stainless steel tumbler.
Yeah,
so
it's awesome.
They do a great job. It's a upscaled version of the small shot glasses.
So go check them out. Pick up some gear. Chum along with us.
Or catch us at a live event or Paracon.
Yeah. But we are going to talk about a very interesting topic tonight. I think it's interesting. The Wendigo.
Generally starts in Indian folklore.
You okay?
Just listen.
Okay. So, JD, for people that might not have heard about this cryptid, I don't know, would you call it a cryptid?
Mm-hmm. Goes up there with the skinwalkers.
Okay. Can you kind of give people a brief, one of you guys, it doesn't have to be you, JD, OG or JD,
yeah,
give the fellers that are watching and the ladies kind of a brief rundown of what a Wendigo is?
So, if you go the traditional route, a Wendigo has a similar look to like a Bigfoot, but white. They are cannibalistic, meaning that they eat people. The Indian legend is they were made from tribes people that get stuck out in the into most of the northern North America where it's snowy, and they run out of food, and they end up having to cannibalize people that have passed on. And when they do that, it will change them into this creature that then has an insatiable thirst and hunger for human flesh.
Almost like a shark. Once it gets human flesh, that's all it wants.
Yeah. And there's some scientific stuff to that we'll get into that could be some of that, because there's certain proteins in the brain that if you eat can cause, dementia and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
But saying that, when they do eat it, they can't sustain their appetite. They're always hungry.
They can never get full, and they generally hunt at night. They are a scary version of Bigfoot. I mean, technically, they're superhuman strength. They can track at night. They can see at night. They can mimic sounds to try to lure people out. The Wendigo's done a little bit of metamorphosis over the years.
Yes.
The newest version of it shows it with like deer antlers and like a deer skull. Yeah,
it's just horrible.
Before it was just like a large creature with teeth.
So there's a funny episode from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I don't know if you guys watch that show, where Frank, Danny DeVito's character, convinces the other characters that they've become cannibals because he's hooked them on what he called human meat, and they can't sustain that hunger. They have to constantly, so they're going into butcher shops asking for like the special meat and all this stuff. And it ended up being that he had just gave them tainted raccoon meat, and it was tapeworms that were causing them to be hungry. So I find that funny. But I'm wondering if that could be what they were experiencing, that it could have been. Because if you think about it, if they're being cannibalistic and eating human remains that they've passed on, who knows how long they've been out there, they could.
There could be parasites in
there.
But yeah, generally, from the scientific method, there are proteins in our brains that you have to avoid, because if you eat them, it's like a mad cow disease that it attacks your brain and you will go crazy. Which, if you're crazy and you just got done eating human flesh, I mean,
and you're even more crazier now.
yeah. So I mean, it's a terrifying story. Almost every Supernatural, like the TV series Supernatural, covered it. It was like in the first season.
Yeah.
They did a Wendigo episode.
The good season when all they were doing was going around and hunting different cryptids.
It's been covered in comic books.
That was my first.
So tell us, how was it covered in
1987? Hulk 180. They had Hulk in Canada, and he was fighting the beast called the Wendigo, which was a big white Bigfoot, which is what I thought it was. I never got that comic book, but I did get Hulk 181, which is the very first appearance of Wolverine from 1972, and I got it in 1987. I bought it for like $32. Thought it's a pretty good deal. I started becoming a Wolverine fan after I saw him slaughter some of the guards of the another team when he was in the sewers trying to get his team back. So I became a fan when I said, "Oh, who's this crazy guy?" So he was a special agent for Canada, and they released him to stop the Hulk, and he ended up fighting the Hulk and the Wendigo. That was my first introduction to Wendigo.
So Wolverine became a Mountie?
He was. I think they call him Weapon X, right, through the comic books. But he was that special guy, that speed, quick, and anyway, he ended up fighting both of them at the same time. And then he befriended Hulk because Hulk saw him attacking Wendigo, and the Hulk goes, "Oh, you're my friend." So they both started kicking the crap out of Wendigo, and then Wolverine turned on the Hulk. That was my first introduction to. After that, I'm like, what is Wendigo? Is it just another Bigfoot? And that's when I started getting into what you already described. A big white beast, hairy, good tracker, eats only human flesh, cannibalistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of the mythos from certain tribes, it wasn't just cannibalism that caused the transformation. It was they had to consume someone from their tribe or their family.
Yeah.
Because then that means that their spirit had been tainted, not just their flesh and body.
Depending on which one, they believed it could also just be a dark spirit that when you get that weak and you're eating, that it then inhabits you and takes over.
Like a possession?
Like a possession.
And basically, it was a cautionary tale from the tribes to work together. It was folklorish through the tribes, like, hey, we need to work together to make sure we have enough food to get through the winter, because the winters can be really harsh, right?
It's also a warning to not eat a dead human.
Yeah.
Especially somebody but I mean, because that's an interesting tale, because like we're now finding out, like, because there's been multiple human races, Dezanovan, Neanderthal, and modern day human. They're now starting to think that like Neanderthals don't have the same issue with eating other Neanderthals because the proteins in the brains aren't there. So that would have been, you have another race. Well, like there are tribes that talked about Bigfoot being cannibalistic, that they would eat their people. Well, the only way for that to happen, like either they have to know to avoid the brain, or they're immune to certain proteins. And that would, because that's what a lot of cautionary tales are really, actually, you can go back scientifically and there's a reason why you don't do this. Yeah. Well, like not eating swines, because of all the parasites that they used to have that they didn't know how to get rid of, that if you ate it, you would get...
You ingest it into your system, sure.
So, I mean, it's an interesting tale, whether it be a spirit, whether it be something scientific. It is a cautionary tale, but, I mean, it to me was terrifying, because, like, you have a Bigfoot-esque creature coming after you that can hunt, that can smell, that is insatiable for hunger, how are you going to get rid of it?
Yeah.
Now, I know we recently, on a previous episode, talked about the phenomenon tulpas. If you haven't seen that, please go check it out. It's a pretty fascinating topic. Would you consider this a form of tulpanism?
No, because you kind of get into that, but when you start talking about tulpas and all that, I mean, I guess it depends on how far you think a tulpa can go, because these stories are passed down by generation by generation. They're thousands of years old when you get into it.
That's a lot of thought power.
Could be, or but you're changing somebody. Most of the stories is somebody gets changed into a Wendigo. Not that's just there. I mean, it was a tribesman. They ate another tribesman, and that's what caused it. So now, are you saying tulpas can change a person? That's where I think you kind of get into talking about Bigfoot as a tulpa.
But you could also look at it too that
They brought it into an existence.
no, well, yes. So not necessarily that it's a phenomenon where individuals in a tribe are physically being transformed, but it was a cautionary tale, like you said. And over the years, the thought process created a physical being that people were now seeing, thinking that someone had turned. Does that make sense?
Not really. The reason being because like they were like every tall tale, there has to be a seed of truth in it. There has to be a beginning point. Now, if you're to say the new iteration of the Wendigo with the deer and antlers, deer skull with antlers, and people start seeing that, I would say that's probably a tulpa.
Okay.
Because that's a recent manifestation of something that's been around for a long time. Because I mean, like we're getting into that realm of, I think you have original and something modern. That's a tulpa.
Original recipe
Yeah.
and extra crispy.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, it
That's fair. Yeah,
because like, again, some people have posted online, they think it just takes one person to generate something. And I'm like, I mean, it would take a very special person to me to be able to do that. I think it takes a lot of people. And, until recently, we haven't had that type of capabilities to generate that many people talking.
I mean, nothing's out of the realm of possibility because it only takes one crazy bastard to ruin the world.
Yeah.
Why couldn't one crazy bastard create something?
Would he have enough belief to stop other people from believing? I mean, because, when you get in the Wendigo, you go down kind of a Parachum rabbit hole because there are so many other skinwalkers. There's other malevolent spirits.
Yep.
I think they were cautionary tales, but I think there's some truth behind it, whether it be a real creature or a disease that would happen. Somebody going mad because of the proteins, or
Well, I'm sure somewhere within the years that someone like, we're starving, we don't have a choice, we're going to eat Grandpa, right? Grandpa was too weak, he passed away, and they did it. And, and they probably like, Trevor, get together, we got to stop this now. We have to put him away. There was a guy that was a sheriff. They had something running wind or something like that. I can't really think of his name right now. Went out with his family, winter, came back without him. And everybody starts asking questions. He finally broke down on a question like, I ate him. I killed him. Well, he was hungry and killed as well. So, and they're like, he's a Wendigo. And that's what he said. Oh, I'm a Wendigo. I'm a Wendigo. I think he was probably trying to think of a way to get out of being, hung, if you will. But so I think there's some truth in it. I do, and I don't know if it's too quick to do this. I myself don't believe in Wendigos. I've never seen any kind of evidence whatsoever with any.
Because they eat all the evidence.
Well, that's probably.
It's like you never hear about a violent Bigfoot because if they're violent, they're going to just kill you.
Yeah, well, that's true. You're not going to outrun them.
Oh, that was a bear attack.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying, but all the Wendigo videos you see and pictures and sound, there is no conclusion that. Not that I wished it into existence. I'd love to see one, but I'm enthralled with the comic book. I'm finishing up a Wolverine.
That's one of the ones that
series right now about it.
Bigfoot from a distance. I don't want to see a Wendigo.
No.
It's a real Wendigo. Yeah. That's not a good situation.
And he's always hungry. It's better what he does.
I have to poke. Do you believe in aliens?
I did until the government came out and said there's aliens.
So once there was evidence provided that there could possibly be aliens, you stopped believing?
No, I just don't. I don't want to get us kicked off YouTube. I don't know what to say here. No, you know what? There are thousands and millions of I said that backwards. There are millions of galaxies out there in our solar system. There absolutely has to be another life.
I'm not. So I'm actually in your favor on this one. I'm trying to get
Yeah.
in your head for a second.
Oh, I don't wish that on anybody.
Because in 2004, Professor, what?
Space Odyssey. It's 2001.
Are you going to talk about the psychosis of it?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
James B. Waldron was I think a researcher in the phenomenon of the psychosis disorder involved in Wendigos.
Right.
Actually proved that there's never been a documented case study
Correct.
of psychosis represented from Wendigoism.
And what do they call that? What's it called again?
I don't remember.
Wendigoism or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so many people eating other
Wendigo
people
psychosis.
to really test that theory.
yeah.
So what differentiates if Wendigos are real, all right?
Okay.
What would differentiate a Wendigo from, say, Hannibal Lecter or Jeffrey Dahmer?
Size, speed.
The transformation of the physical body into the monster. That's the difference.
Talking about the big hairy monster or the skinny, starving, skeletal looking
No, I'm
version?
talking about the traditional,
Okay.
the Bigfoot-esque.
Because one could pose that they did turn into monsters.
No, I mean mentally in that.
Psychologically.
Well, and that
Okay.
goes back to.
You're talking physical.
Okay.
Yeah, like a
You're-
physical appearance as a monster. Like they suppose they start growing hair. They
Is it,
10 feet tall.
is it possible that Wendigos have evolved to mute us from their actual perception to see what we want to see?
It could be
Rabbit hole.
Well, but is that what they're describing is that somebody that's covered in furs because they're out in the middle of the forest during wintertime and it's attacking them, so all they see is this hairy creature coming after them, and keep in mind these stories go way back, and it may not have. The actual last Wendigo may have been 1,000 years ago because of oral traditions. The reason why I bring that up is for the longest time, there was oral traditions of a massive bear in North America that would attack Native Americans. And they said they lived in caves. And for the longest time, scientists said no, there's no evidence of it. And they have now found bone evidence of a cave bear, which is called a short-faced bear.
Yep.
And it is as big, if not bigger, than a modern-day polar bear. They were cave dwellers. They would be totally horrific if you came across one.
Damn.
But there's thousands of years of oral tradition on this bear, and I think probably it went extinct 10,000 years ago.
Oh, wow.
They don't know, but the Native Americans have stories of it. But they disbelieved it until they finally got bone evidence, and it's like, okay.
I got one for you. The Springfield Bass Pro Shop.
No, that's real.
Yeah. I've been into. They have that bear, the cave,
polar bear?
the cave bear.
Yeah.
And it's easily 12 feet tall, and they have a humanoid from probably 500 years ago, and
Which have been about
like
5'2",
he's like 4'3",
Yeah.
maybe 4'6", with a spear showing him hunting this cave bear. So they do have what you're talking about, the
Yeah.
bones, and they made.
It's a massive.
So
It's huge. It's scary. It's my grandson's favorite place in the museum. He loves it.
I have to throw this out there. If
No, you don't.
yes, I do. If species, excuse me,
You threw it out.
if species, that was something telling me not to say what I'm about to say.
Oh,
You're choking on it.
If species,
damn it.
evolutionary wise, are increasing in size and girth and all that kind of stuff, if this thing is still around, is there a possibility that it's going to be exponentially more massive than when the tales about it were going around?
I would think smaller because
Depends.
I think things are getting smaller.
We're not humans as a species.
You don't think so?
No. God, no.
No, I'm just thinking. I'm just talking about everything in the world. I mean, we're seeing wolves get smaller, right? We're seeing horses getting smaller.
I'll throw this into context for you. I investigated the Longview Mansion down at Lee Summit, and they had adult, like 30 and 40-year-olds, because they had their own fire station, police station. In the attic, in the closet, they had fireman suits for the adults that were the firefighters. And Nathan, Rick's son, that was with us, wore like a children's medium, and he was too big to fit into those outfits.
Well, I mean, the urinals in the Masonic Lodge in Kansas City that we went to the Paracon at, you couldn't fit in them.
Yeah.
I mean, I touched both
They
sides,
sucked.
and you're kind of wet. And the bathroom stall wasn't much better.
No, you're right. I mean,
So, I mean, we
the picture you sent today with the wheelchair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how narrow that is.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it just meant that people probably didn't live that long. But there's, you know, going on that stuff. I think because it could have been, you know, Drunken Cryptid kind of brought it up at one of our conversations was, you know, if a Bigfoot is ape-like or even kind of related to us, that means they could be acceptable to rabies. They could be other diseases.
Yep.
Is that just happened to be a demented Bigfoot, and they just assumed because they saw bodies eaten that it was a tribes member?
That's fair.
I mean, because there's, like I said, there are a few noted attacks of Bigfoot.
Because
Very few people survive them. That's why we don't hear a lot of them.
what would a Bigfoot with mange look like?
Yeah. Or, I mean, well, there's, you know, yeah. I'm not quite tall enough. Well, because a lot of people don't understand, like, when you start going north on Bigfoot, like, where we're at, generally they're 7 to 8 foot tall in this, you know,
Yeah.
Arkansas and all that. As you start moving to the northwest, they go from, you know, 8 to 10 to 15, supposedly in Canada, that they have these massive, which is in the realm of bears.
Yeah, I
Like,
recently saw a size comparison of like the
the
species,
giants.
and then
yeah.
like the 15-foot one. I was like, "Fuck that!"
Well, the people in North, humans, are bigger
Well, yeah.
than us people in the Midwest. When I went up there to my son's football games up in South and North Dakota, every one of those people were, I'm just like,
And
I'm a good-sized guy. You are big, my man.
And I wonder if that has an effect of evolution and gravitational pull.
I think it's gravitational.
Gravitational
I've always
pull.
said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gravitational
No,
pull. I think it's environmental. You have to be a certain sturdiness to be able to survive, and as you keep generational, you keep on grabbing the biggest, strongest person in the area that can survive the winters, and that you just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
But why is it that like as you move towards the equator, the human
Because you
species
don't have to be hard.
Okay.
Everything. Well, and they talk about that is like if you're on a luscious island or by the equators, that most people are shorter. They don't have to work hard for the winter. Adversity. Well, I mean they talk about it. Like when you look at technology as you go further north or further south gets more advanced because you have to deal with climates. You have to build. You have to worry about your environment. You have to worry about having enough food to make it through the winter. You have to worry, about if your crop's taken out during the summertime, you don't have enough for winter. If you're on the equator, you don't have winter. You are, other than other animals and people, you have a pretty easy life, and then anybody can survive because you're not relying on somebody to build you a house out of logs. You're just going to throw a hut together real quick. It's not that big of a deal. But when you're in the north, you're going to look for somebody that can cut down multiple trees,
It's true.
cut them, stack them, and probably by themselves to get you safe. That you're going to have to fend off boars, bears. You start looking for physical traits, and then you start going, well, it's still a bear. I'm going to need a spear. I'm going to need, I can now sling this rock. And that's how technology, as you get into the harsher environments, but that's why I think Vikings were known to be big. They literally just environmentally grew
absolutely
that way.
were.
They because people were picking best traits. That's
Yep.
why they're blonde-haired, blue-eyed.
Well, that's why in Minnesota you're finding these 7-foot Viking burials. These guys with Viking armor that were at least 7 feet long.
Pretty sure that's because of the cheese in Wisconsin.
Well, maybe.
a lot of protein.
You think about that. But so you think they went to Wisconsin, then Minnesota?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Because no one stays in Wisconsin.
Well, you were on a roll. I don't want you.
Sorry,
stopping.
Darkwoods.
You're.
I'm just saying that, like, there's the Wendigo stories in that could be a cannibalistic, because there are certain Indian tribes believe that. Well, you get into red-haired giants with dual row teeth. that were cannibalistic, and that Indians caught, Lovelock Cave where they caught them and got the fire on, and all those skeletons disappeared. That they were turned over to the Smithsonian. They disappeared.
So
But they had sandals. They were advanced.
Yep.
And you go further up, like I'm just saying, like in that area, if there was a rogue, Bigfoot that's 15 foot tall, maybe it's
Can you
having
imagine that?
no.
No, I
I
don't
mean,
want
seriously,
to.
bro.
Yeah. Well, like talking
can
with my
imagine it.
daughter, he's 6'8", and he said when the creature stood up in front of him, he says it was another couple feet. Well,
Can you imagine
6'8", that's
2.5 times the height?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Well,
It's nuts,
like
right?
when you walk up and see that cave bear.
Oh,
Or the polar bear, you could it does not look real.
Oh, it's
you're like,
yeah.
there's no way.
So-
yeah,
Put into reality,
But
this is an 8-foot ceiling.
yeah.
A 15-foot Bigfoot, maybe that's not an 8-foot.
We can whoop a
No, it's an
Bigfoot.
8-foot ceiling.
We can whoop a Bigfoot in here if he's 12 foot tall
Twice as tall as
because he's not going to move. We got this.
You're talking
so.
a Bigfoot the size of the height of my apartment.
No,
complex.
12 foot. Another 4 feet from your ceiling.
No, I'm talking about 15 plus.
That's crazy, right?
That's a
Well,
fucking giant.
And just so you understand, bears get that big. Like grizzlies can get 15 foot. Polar bears can get almost 20 when they stand up.
That's crazy.
Like a lot of people don't realize, like the bears where we're, like a black bear,
6 foot.
top 6 foot. That's a big bear, 6 foot.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah, no. Brown bears
He
as
lives
they
in
go
Nixon,
up.
Missouri.
Yeah, I mean it's not the ones in the Rockies and that were 10 foot, if not 10 to 12 foot, and then as they like the Kodiaks are 15, and then polar bears can be up to 20, like 18 foot. I mean at that point I don't know if you really need to measure because people forget 10-foot basketball goal.
Yeah.
I'm like, 15 or 16 doesn't really matter.
When it gets so big,
You can stop measuring.
You can just
Yeah.
stop measuring.
That's a great.
I don't think I'll ever have that problem.
That's a great tagline.
And yeah, think if you're 5'5", which was a tall guy back
Yeah.
in early colonial
A 15
days,
foot.
and you come across even a 10 foot.
Yeah.
That's two of you.
Yeah.
How do you gauge that? How do you go? Oh yeah, that's 10 foot. No, I'm like, no,
No,
that's just,
I know how you gauge that. Shit. So I want to ask you a question before we go to break, and while we're at break, I want you guys to mull it over and give me your answers.
I don't have a
Come back.
mullet.
But I would like for us to take one step back before you answer that question.
Fine.
You brought in Darkwoods.
Yeah.
You called them out. You say they're in Wisconsin. Are you saying that maybe Gabriel and Raven have a little growing to go? Because she's like what 5'2"?
I'm not touching this with 10-foot pole.
Well, he's the one who brought it up. Are you saying they're short? For
No,
Wisconsin?
I'm just saying like nothing stays in Wisconsin. Like the Beast of Bray Road doesn't stay in Wisconsin.
I'm
he
sorry.
wasn't talking about height.
I thought you were
wasn't
talking
talking
about
about
the
height. No.
because we were talking about how.
Damn, he's trying to make me an enemy. Thanks.
I do find it odd though. We don't have any pictures of all of us together. I wonder if they were thinking about that.
I don't think anybody was
Yeah.
thinking about that.
I'm just saying.
We have one picture together outside
Forced picture as everybody was leaving.
on the way out. On the way out, yeah.
Everybody's smiling like,
Let's go get some sleep.
So the question is, before we go to break, do you think it's possible, and if so, implications wise, a child, small, like toddler child, gets separated from its tribe or its community out in the middle of the woods, Mowgli style Jungle Book, adopted by Bigfoot, Wendigo? What would happen? But don't answer.
Yeah.
Because we're going to go to break.
And please leave your comments on
Yes,
why
let
you
us-
think that was a whack story that you just asked us.
It was not a
Comment
whack.
down.
That's whack.
So we'll be right back. So, welcome back, everybody. We went and used the restroom. At least I did.
No, it was for a commercial break to give you time to go use the bathroom.
No, it
whatever
was
you
for
need.
me.
We didn't. Have
I don't
these
care
rest-
about
we,
them.
We sweated. We sweated our
It's
extra
better
fluid
this
out.
time. I mean, it's 5 degrees less than what it was.
It's like hopefully 90. It's good.
It's a lot better than it was last time, I have to admit. So before we went to break, I asked you guys the question that hypothetically, if a wayward toddler from a tribe or a community were to become abandoned and lose their way in the wilderness, and a Wendigo or Bigfoot were to kind of like adopt them, Jungle Book style, Mowgli like, do you think they would take on more of the psychosis and personality of the creature, or still retain the psychosis and mentality of humanity?
They don't keep the humanity part because it's been found there.
They become
a,
feral,
But
right?
Yeah.
but they themselves have not been transformed.
No, they're still human size to whatever they're naturally going to grow to, or maybe slightly smaller because they're malnutrition. But there's historical, not evidence. There's historical stories of feral kids that, like, there was a female that was found that was raised by I don't know if it was wolves or. It was a pack animal that raised her, and they found her, brought her in back to civilization, and she did not do well.
Didn't they make a movie
It took a
called
long-
Nell or
Took a
something
long,
like that?
took a
about
long
that?
time. Took a
Yeah.
long time for her to.
I don't think she ever got. 100%.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think she.
Well,
passed
how
away.
do you though, right?
Yeah.
How do you?
But I mean, and Mowgli, that story. I mean, he was fairly feral.
Tarzan.
Tarzan's another one.
So, where I was going with that, I know that seems like,
They're not going to grow hair and start eating.
but if they take on the psychosis and start imitating the habitry of the creature that's raising them now and turn to cannibalism, wouldn't they themselves turn into a Wendigo?
Oh, I thought we were talking. We're talking Wendigo.
That's what the episode's
I don't-
about.
Well, I know that's what the episode's
I don't
about.
think a
but I thought you were
Wendigo would
talking
take on a
Sasquatch,
child.
Bigfoot.
Like, if you're a Bigfoot and all that, I think they take on probably the pack mentality if they're true pack animals and all that. And they would eat very similar, but they're not going to grow fangs and all that. I mean,
So you're saying a Wendigo would just eat the child?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's where I'm going.
insatiable hunger for human flesh.
It doesn't.
Thank you, Rob
It
Zombie.
doesn't
Yeah.
last 5 minutes.
So a living dead girl.
Not living very long.
Nope.
And that's what makes them so terrifying. Like, if you actually came across one, that would be one that you would absolutely not want to come across because it is supposedly
So,
always hungry for human flesh.
so you don't want to go up and take a selfie with it?
No, that's not one you're going to get a hug out of.
Well, maybe one.
You're going to try.
No, that's called a chug when it's chugging your organs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about briefly the historical aspect of Native Americans in regards to the Wendigo. That the first publicized account
Of the story?
of the creature was, I think, in 1910, called the Wendigo by a English person, and it was almost a metaphor for the innate what do you call it, wild
Wild man, wild spirit.
yeah, the wild nature of Native Americans and how white people used to view them. Does that make sense?
Oh, the way they interpreted white people?
No, the way
White people interpreted them
why the way white people interpreted them
as savages.
Savages. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What are your do you think that was a bad thing in regards to the folklore and term Wendigo overall?
I think probably in the early 1900s, a lot of that folklore stories probably wasn't really. I mean, they were tall tales that they put in books and all that, and I don't think they really went into depth unless you were a native or lived with them. Would you actually have any reverence for it? I mean, it's.
But you have to.
I think they're all cautionary tales, like we talked about.
But in the eyes of Westerners, it kind of tainted the
downplayed it.
image,
Yeah.
of the supernatural aspect.
Yeah, I
of
mean,
it.
so when pharmaceuticals came out, and they downplayed all the holistic, spiritualistic medicines and all that. That's when everything spiritual, and there was quite a few debunked spiritualists that could supposedly speak to the dead, didn't help out.
Yeah.
But that all those old stories were pretty much thrown to the wayside, and if it wasn't modern medicine, modern science, it was, you were crazy for even thinking about it. And I think we're finally coming back to where, maybe you're not crazy, but, at least you can have a conversation about it now versus,
True. That's fair.
You should be able to, right?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts out there in video land, not TV land? Do you think that over time the term Wendigo and the folklore behind it has been kind of downplayed by social exploits?
I don't think it is as big of a cautionary tale because we don't run into those situations. That was a every winter situation in the early 1800s.
Yeah.
The Donner Party and Donner Pass. They're still trying to figure out if 100% cannibalistic happened. When did it happen? Because that was part of life that you could run into it. More modern was the airplane crash.
In the Andes, the soccer team.
And they had to make
the movie
a decision.
Alive.
Yeah. So, but that's really rare anymore for people to be in those types of situations. So
Didn't the survivors finally realize that if they had just gone over the pass, they were only 10 miles from a town?
I don't remember about that.
Yeah,
I remember the movie. That's about it. So before you wrap it up, let me ask you this. Do you think Wendigos exist? A real Wendigo.
Are we wrapping it up this early?
No.
Well, I'm just
Okay.
asking, where are you at on that? Is that a real creature?
Is it a real possibility?
Is it a real possibility?
God, I hate that word.
I think it's a possibility that there could be a cannibalistic
Yes.
out there. Is it a man transformed into it?
Yeah.
I think it's more
I don't know.
something that's been around that we're not
It's just a bear.
we don't fully so that something that we don't fully understand at the moment, and people that were witnessing this back in the old times associated it with someone that went missing from the village because their bodies were never found because this creature was consuming it.
Well,
that's how I look at it.
yeah, that was their reasoning back then,
Yeah.
right? And again, it was a tell to
I think it was a cautionary
to
tale.
the tribes, hey,
Now-
this is why we have to work together.
Now, I do think, I absolutely believe that it's possible for people to get to the point where reason becomes null and void and morality becomes null and void, and they have to do whatever they
all
have
about
to
survival.
do.
But
for
and
survival.
that breaks people.
Yes.
And that I could see where that person could
But
go off the deep end
As-
and attack
Sure.
anybody.
as
That,
far as growing fangs and claws and fur, I don't know.
Okay.
That's my take.
I'm assuming you're the same way.
yeah. I think there was something. I think there was a real creature. Whether that was, like I said, I don't know. I don't think it was a man getting turned into.
Yeah. It was a real blood.
It was. Yeah. It could have been a rabid polar bear, which is white, which would have been 15 foot tall.
Maybe that was the Beast of Bray Road, and that's why the Beast of Bray Road's not there anymore. It went back to its habitat.
But it could have been, like I said, it could have been a Bigfoot with a disease, or maybe it's a different iteration.
It had Bigfoot STD.
yeah, rot in the brain. You never know what it. Because it was supposed to be large and humanoid and had fur.
Yeah.
But like I said, is that a Viking wearing fur clothing?
That's true too.
Trying to survive and just got the taste of.
Yeah, those guys are 7 foot tall, right?
Well,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't realize that they were world travelers far before world traveling was documented.
Yeah.
No, that's real.
I
That's real.
think it's as stories get told over time, I think it was part of a cautionary tale, but there's some truth behind it. There's things you didn't want to do.
Yeah.
You definitely wanted to avoid cannibalism because you could pick up a disease from it. What it does to that person, you don't know. There's, or from a religious aspect, a lot of them believe that, you needed to, if you ate somebody else, you could contaminate their soul, spirit, or however you say.
Or engulf them like Soul Eater, right?
Yeah. And,
Right?
Yeah.
and like I said, there's other native stories of large, giant-esque that were cannibals. And that may be a race of tribe that's died out. Like Lovelock Cave killed off a whole section of them. Like there were 6 or 8 of them that died in that cave. Unfortunately, you don't know where the bones went. But, I think at one point in time, there was something that they started writing about, or not writing about, oral traditions on, like, a cautionary tale. Like, I mean, there's
So you're saying to spark that for them to have those tales.
yeah, there had to be a acorn of truth of something. And like I said, it could be the proteins of somebody eating somebody's brain that causes somebody to go crazy.
Now, do you think that the Wendigo is proprietary to Native American folklore, especially in the American Northwest, or
It goes all across North America.
so? But
That
what would they have been called in Europe or Asia?
just a monster?
Yeah.
Werewolf?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, there was it France where they had the werewolf where that literally killed a bunch of people. It depends on if it got seen or not.
And then that's the only way they could describe it was based on animals that were prevalent around that area. Like it looked like a dog, but it really didn't.
Or they could have described it as a demon or something like that, because you get a lot of that in Europe.
Because keep in mind, like the original story was like it's either a demonic spirit and hopping into somebody that then transforms them into that creature.
Yeah, they got so weak that they had no choice but to.
Yep.
Yeah, it just took over them, right?
So there's a spirituality on it too. Like you're basically that weak, and you invite in the darkness, and
Because you could also go down the rabbit hole that they could possibly be aliens, some form of interdimensional.
mutilation.
Yeah, interdimensional entity that's lost, per se. It's just,
We just taste real good.
yeah.
We just managed to kill enough of them off. Our technology's gotten better, so they don't last as long.
Maybe it's a Rick or Morty from another universe. I've gotten into that show recently, and it's hilarious.
But I think there's probably some tidbits of truth here and there of a cautionary tale of stuff that maybe they didn't understand. But they have stories of Bigfoot, so they understand. Skinwalkers. They have a better understanding of that realm between realms. Like, is it all spiritual, or is it flesh and blood creature? And I think they skirt that line on a lot of those creatures. Like,
So why do you think it is that stories of something bit me, Wendigo psychosis or Wendigo experiences kind of diminished around a certain time period?
Because we got better technology and people aren't getting trapped out in the woods and have to eat each other.
I walked into that one.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was just trying to serve it up to you. Yeah. The fact is, how many times have you heard of people getting stuck in a mountain pass and having to resort to cannibalism?
Not very many, because they don't live to tell the tale.
Yeah. But that's where we're at. Is like, I think as we've gotten more modern, some of these things you don't have the right combination to invoke it again. It's just very rare.
Now, so Drunken Cryptids, our friend Matt Orton. If you guys haven't checked out their podcast, go check it out. Drunken Cryptids, Arkansas. It's phenomenal. Brought up a good story about he associates it with a Bigfoot.
The Wendigo.
No, a story that I'm going to tell.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the Wendigo. That people thinking the Wendigo's a Bigfoot. Okay.
No.
I apologize.
He associates this story with Bigfoot. A Bigfoot encounter where a couple of hikers decided to go out in December on a Christmas hike and disappeared, never came back, but they ended up finding them, and all the evidence and the bodies were stolen from
the search and rescue team. Search and rescue gear stolen the day before they were going to go out.
Do you think that could have been a Wendigo? So where I'm going with that is when we're talking about Wendigos in general compared to other cryptids like werewolves, dogmen, Bigfoot, there seems to be an inherent classification system of intelligence associated with each species. Do you think a Wendigo would have some sort of intelligence associated with it, or is it just going to be like Wolverine when he's on rage mode, just animalistic?
The stories are they're intelligent. Like they whistle and say people's names to get them to come outside to make it, but they also eat.
So they don't completely lose humanity. They just.
Oh, but they're not going to turn down a free meal.
No, but what I'm saying is they're not completely cut off from that side of their life, right?
They have enough intelligence to hunt and be good at. That's what makes them kind of terrifying. Is that they, they're unsatiable on their hunger, and they can mimic things. They can try to get you to separate from a group. Because, I mean, they're not about trying to take on a whole group of people. They're that intelligent.
But
they'll
they're
take
not
you out one at a time.
They're not going to be intelligent enough as to go as far as
Picking
hey, that's Juan from my village. I don't like that dickhead. I'm going to go hunt him down and eat him.
Or opportunistic.
Okay.
Like if you're out there and they're going to wait till you get off to the side. But the difference is like the two Bigfoot investigators, because that's what they end up being, that died out there. They weren't eaten. Like they didn't.
They just disappeared.
Well, they disappeared. Well, they found their bodies.
Yeah.
But they weren't ravaged. Like they weren't eaten and
No, they were frozen to death.
frozen to death. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to wrap it up, or do we want to
Keep on going. We're going.
I don't have any more.
What? We got that on record. You don't have one more question?
No.
I'm dehydrating, so I'm glad he's finishing up. So let the boy finish it up.
So why don't you wrap this one up?
If you give me permission to, I will.
Wow.
I guess you can wrap it up early.
Do you,
can't laugh
you
that
have
long.
that status? I didn't
Evidently.
know. Okay.
I got some clout.
I guess you do.
So let us know what you think your thoughts are on the Wendigo phenomenon as a cryptid. Do you think they're real?
Are they a real creature? Are they super spiritual? Are they
Psychological?
I'm going to go with comic book.
Comic book?
Marvel Comics.
Well, science fiction always has a root in science.
And fiction.
And fiction.
There you go.
So please go like and subscribe. We appreciate you guys for joining us on this episode. So until next time.
Be safe.